The Liza Unity is home. This second FPSO vessel has arrived in the Stabroek Block offshore Guyana after traveling for thousands of nautical miles from Singapore as the world's first FPSO to be awarded the Sustain 1 notation by the American Bureau of Shipping, aligned with applicable United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. It has been a long journey, from conceptualizing the design to securing appropriate government and regulatory approvals to the actual construction. I'm going to chat with Production Manager Mike Ryan to understand the next steps. But first, Mike, what is the general sentiment among your team at this time?
Janelle, it's really exciting. I'm so proud of this team. I'm so proud of this team, the resiliency of the Unity team. The sail itself is long. The challenges of COVID in the Singapore yard were challenges for sure, but the team was resilient, pushed through and delivered, a beautiful FPSO that's here in Guyana now, and we're all really excited that she's joined the neighborhood next to Liza Destiny. And we're really looking forward to the next few phases as we bring this FPSO online into 2022.
Well, now we start the hookup into the commissioning phase. How long does that process really last, and what does it entail really?
Well, that process is, you could measure it in terms of months. There's a number of steps that we have to go through. We've made a safe journey. And so now the most important thing is that, well, we have to give the folks that are offshore a rest. They've had a long journey. So we're gonna, inspect the helideck. Government officials from Guyana will come out and visit the FPSO, and then we'll start crew changing the folks that had that long journey. And then we'll get ready for the first stage, is really doing the mooring activity. So it's, Unity is a little bigger than Destiny, but the same concept applies, that this is going to be what we call a spread moored FPSO to the seafloor. So all of those connections are already in place offshore. We just need to connect them now to Unity. And so that's an activity that will take weeks. The challenge is now we're into the late part of the year. The weather offshore can be challenging. And so we're going to do it safely. Of course, we're going to do it safely. And so the schedule will depend on the currents and the sea state and the waves, that we can execute that in a safe and reliable manner. So once we get the FPSO secured in place, we'll then start pulling in the risers. So the production risers, the water injection, and the gas injection risers. And that's all critical activity that needs to be done. And then we go into the next phase, which is through the final commissioning and startup and into operations. But it's measured in months.
I'd like to take a step back and talk about the overarching Liza Phase 2 development and how the Unity fits into that.
So the Liza field, it's a large field. It's our first one that we're developing. And we're developing it in two phases, Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1 is the Liza Destiny, and that's been in operation for over a year now. And Liza Unity is Phase 2. So those two FPSOs will work in concert to develop the Liza field. For example, the next FPSO that will come, it's under construction in Singapore, the Prosperity FPSO, that'll produce oil from the Payara reservoir, or the Payara field. So we're still on the Liza field, Phase 1, Phase 2. Fundamentally, from a production operations side, it's still the same type of process of producing oil, water, and gas, and injecting the gas and water back into the reservoir. Liza Destiny was a converted tanker with all brand new topsides equipment on the topsides. You might recall from some of the things that we did that the topsides weighed 16,000 metric tons for Destiny. So Unity is a new fabrication and design hull, so it's not a converted tanker. And again, all the topsides are new, just like Destiny, but the topsides weight is 27,000 metric tons. So it's another 11,000 metric tons bigger. The physical size of the floating structure is not that much bigger, but Unity is not shaped like a tanker. It's shaped like it's a little bit square on the sides and longer. And so it's a few meters wider, a few meters longer. But because of the design, we can put more equipment on the top sides. Through that equipment, we can produce more oil and inject more gas. So the oil production is, over 200,000 barrels a day versus Destiny is, over 100, 120 in that range. And so a little bit more capacity, but the design itself is somewhat similar from a production operations perspective. We've made a lot of improvements and changes, lessons learned from Destiny, but just also as we understand and learn more about the reservoir.
What do you perceive the startup of a second project offshore means for ExxonMobil, the Stabroek Block co-ventures, and the people of Guyana?
When we had one FPSO in operation offshore, and we have a number of drill ships offshore, 6 drill ships right now, and there's a lot of activity. But since startup of Destiny, one FPSO, and a lot of future potential, we've now delivered our second FPSO. So 2 FPSOs in one region, you're starting to develop an industry. And you're starting to be recognized, Guyana is being recognized as a leader in safe operations offshore. The performance of the Liza Destiny team is world class. Since startup, we haven't had a single recordable since introduction of hydrocarbon. It's been almost 800 days without a recordable incident. What I mean by that is nothing more than a first aid. And so we're getting recognized for that. We're getting recognized now of an industry coming along with Unity. And we're working extremely hard to continue to build on the success of safety, but also our environmental performance. We recognize the challenges that we had with Destiny startup and the flash gas compressor. We are committed and working hard to be successful in the Unity startup. The flash gas compressor is a different design on Unity, and we have confidence in this equipment that we're going to be able to bring it up and meet our expectations.
Once you've completed the hookup and appropriate testing and commissioning of equipment, you don't get to producing 220,000 barrels of oil per day. Just tell us a little bit about the process of ramping up to full production.
So once we introduce hydrocarbons, I'll say, or first oil, the real reason we're bringing that initial volume of oil in is to really get the gas to help us commission the gas injection and compression systems. And so we need to do that first. Once we get the gas handling systems to the state we want, we can then start to begin increasing production. But this production is going to come from a number of different subsea wells. And so you can't just turn on one switch and it all comes up, over 200,000 barrels a day. The ramp up of production is going to be through 2022 and potentially into 2023 as we learn more about this reservoir and do it safely. And so we're going to take this very methodically. It's safety first, environment first, and then it's the production volumes after that, once we have full confidence that we can achieve those objectives. I'm just really proud of the team. I'm excited, another FPSO offshore. I can't wait to visit Liza Unity and fly out and see her, and congratulate the teams just on a safe journey and on the road ahead, because I've got full confidence in this team. Guyana should be very proud of the Guyanese that are offshore, the Guyanese that are on the Liza Destiny and on all our drill ships and support vessels. It is one team. It's a big family that we have, and we're committed to deliver to Guyana.
The standard for operational excellence set with the construction of this Liza Unity FPSO demonstrates the level of quality we aspire to meet on every aspect of our projects. The development concept and our work of this FPSO has been guided by ExxonMobil's enduring values: personnel safety, operational quality, and executing on commitments to resource owners, in this case, the people and government of Guyana, all while respecting the environment and communities within which we operate. I am Janelle Prasad. Thank you for watching.